Throughout the show, guys, we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl. I know Lance is super excited to start touching on that topic. We're going to talk about the betting lines. We've seen some really interesting movement in the betting lines. We're going to talk about that in a second. But before we go any further, there's always some breaking news, and the sports nerd's always on top of it. Lance, let's hear about our breaking news today.
Okay, so one of the sadder breaking news recently, Patricia Rooney, the wife of the late Pittsburgh Steelers chairman Dan Rooney, passed away at age 88. So I guess I'll stop the news there, and I would like to get your opinion since you are a diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So, like, what does the Rooney family mean to you as a diehard fan of that team?
Well, look, Pittsburgh's a strange town. It really is, as far as how much we care about the Steelers. And for most of us, the Rooneys are a part of our extended family. So it's always sad to see a Rooney pass away. We've seen Art Rooney Sr. pass away. We've seen Dan Rooney pass away. Now to see his wife pass away is terrible. The good part about the Steelers is I truly believe, and I think most people believe, that team will always be owned by the Rooneys. So there will always be a new Rooney introduced to us. And that for the next generation of people, whether it's my kids, my grandkids, or whatever, they'll always have a Rooney that they can kind of I don't want to say look up to, because I don't think that's I don't think it's fair to put these people in that position. But you can look up to the way these guys run their franchise. There's always been a level of equality in the way the Pittsburgh Steelers run their franchise. There's always been a level of family. All the players that are there always say so. So for me, it's sad to see a Rooney pass away, and I wish the family all the best. And I know most people in Pittsburgh feel the same.
Okay, so on to baseball. So Theo Epstein is back, actually, but not necessarily with one team. So he will be part of this company called Arctos Sports Partners. And they are a private equity firm that buys minority shares of professional sports teams. So he will be an executive in that team. So how do you see this new role of Theo Epstein unfolding?
It's interesting. I'm not sure. I need more information on it, but it's really interesting. I wonder how much, when you come in as a minority owner, you don't have a lot of control. So maybe Epstein comes around as part of the package. Listen, we're going to pick up 26% of the shares of this company, but Theo comes in and can oversee our investment. And that's kind of where I would see him coming in. For example, if I was going to buy a restaurant and I knew nothing about a restaurant, well, I would want to hire somebody that's been a restaurant manager before to come in and really kind of oversee the project for me. So maybe that's where Epstein comes from. Epstein has a deep knowledge of understanding how a major league team actually works, whether it's baseball. I'm sure fundamentally it probably transfers over to basketball or football. So I would guess that's where Epstein's position comes in. Other than that, I'm not really sure. But I would guess, if I had to guess, just knowing a little bit about business, understanding how I would personally structure it, I wouldn't dive into something I don't understand. These could be, billionaire hedge fund guys that have a bunch of money and want to invest in sports, but want to make sure their money's taken care of. And Epstein would probably be in that position.
Okay, so I guess that's a fair deal for any team that will have Epstein in like any kind of role within their organization.
Yeah, sure. Okay, he's got the experience. Listen, when you invest in something, you never know if the people that you're dealing with are competent in the first part. So, knowing that Epstein's there, knowing that he's my partner, knowing that he knows the ins and outs and all the nooks and crannies of all the logistics and the finances would be such a huge asset. He's probably a partner in that company for no money down. He probably has zero actual capital investment. His investment is going to be blood, sweat, and tears, and he's going to go in and actually tear the books apart and actually keep track of the investment in that way.
Okay, so going back to the NFL, so as we all know, Matthew Stafford's deal is already through. He will be officially Los Angeles Ram once new deals can NBC Sports actually specified that Stafford specifically mentioned that he can ask for it for any team except for the New England Patriots. So there's only one exception for Matthew Stafford, and that was the New England Patriots, because probably we can speculate that the Patriots rehired Matt Patricia. So I would just like to ask you, like, how much like suffering did Matt Patricia inflict for somebody like a Matthew Stafford not wanting to be in New England, even though there's a Bill Belichick there?
That's a strong speculation. I'm not so sure that would be true. If I was Matthew Stafford, I would say to myself, listen, I've long suffered here in Detroit and had very little fun doing so. In my 9 years of playing, we've never won. I've never been to a playoff game. I've seen very little success, and I don't want to go someplace where not only do I not get to have any fun, but when you look at that lineup of skill players, there's nothing there. The cupboard's bare. So Bill Belichick got away for a long time being able to create an atmosphere that just isn't a good time. And people are seeing now that that's what it is. It's a place where you go, you play football, you take it serious. Maybe you win a championship. Maybe. We haven't seen him win one without Tom Brady. It's only been a year. I get it. But to me, you can go anywhere to work. Like there are 10 teams looking into you actually going to play for them. I would say of the 10 teams that are looking for me, please don't send me someplace that isn't any fun. I just want to go and enjoy myself. I'm lucky to make $30 million a year playing a game that I love, and I want to make sure it remains a game. If it stays like it is here in Detroit where I'm not happy, then I'm probably not going to play much longer. So that's my speculation. Now, if he and Patricia didn't get along, I have not heard that. Have you heard information that he and Patricia had some type of beef?
Well, not directly Stafford, but there were articles wherein there was one end of the season wherein the Lion season has already ended. And because they won't see Patricia for the next few months, a number of players had a party just because they won't see him. They won't be around that guy for the off season. So yeah. I guess that's descriptive enough of the relationship between Matt Patricia and the team.
I would say this. Offenses and defenses, they don't interact that much. Offensive coaches never interact with the defense. Defensive coaches never interact with the offense. Matt Patricia is going to go back to New England. He's going to go back to the defensive side of the ball. Stafford would have been in an offensive meeting room dealing with offensive coordinator. To me, if I had to guess, we'll find out eventually because someone's going to ask him. If I had to guess, I would say that it's probably because of the culture of no fun there. And I think, like I said, I think Stafford at his age, at the place he's at in his career, wants to go somewhere, enjoy the last few years he's playing, have a good time, and have a chance to win. I think he'll get all of that in Los Angeles. So I think it works out for him. What else you got?
Okay, so again, another quarterback news. So we all know that Jared Goff is already with the Detroit Lions. And with that, there's only one part of the 2016 class of quarterbacks that hasn't been cut, trade, or bench, and that's Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys. So after Goff was traded to Detroit, his brother, Tad, sent out this tweet, and I quote, "So the guy who was never supposed to make it is now the last one standing. Let that sink in. However, Prescott doesn't have a long-term deal with the Cowboys yet. So will he be a Cowboy for the next half a decade, or is he going somewhere else?"
Well, first of all, Dak Prescott's brother should shut the hell up. It's not his place to ride his brother's coattails and his brother's fame by talking about his brother. Some little nuanced bullshit that he says could very well affect Dak Prescott in the future, whether it be financial or something like that. So I do not see that as his place. Now, he's not my brother. I don't know how Dak runs his relationship with his brother. But if I was Dak, I'd say shut the hell up, first of all. Second of all, he's not the last one standing. He's actually the one who couldn't stand at all this year. He broke his leg. It was a horrendous break. I don't know if he's been medically cleared to even start walking around yet. I don't know what his status is. I haven't been following it. But that was awful. And third of all, he's not under contract. So he very well could not be playing for the Dallas Cowboys this year. He doesn't have a long-term starting job yet. So I wouldn't say he's the last one standing. He's not the last one with his own team. He's actually, at the end of this year, he becomes a free agent. He'll be franchised again, or he'll be let go to test the market. If he was let go to test the market, I think it would be wildly fascinating to me. Wildly fascinating. I would love to see that happen. I would like to see Dallas offer a third rounder for Goff right now. Offer a third rounder for Goff. Bring Goff in to be the franchise quarterback in Dallas, and let Dak walk just to be fun. I don't think it's a good move, better business sense. I just want to see Dak hit the open market and see what his value really is.
Yeah, I guess so. So especially now that they do have Andy Dalton as well. So Dallas kind of have an insurance policy in place. I mean, Dalton is not really like upward like top tier quarterback, but he gets the job done, and give him weapons and give him assets around him. I guess that he will be able to do something with this Dallas roster as well.
Here's what's really important that a lot of people aren't taking into account. Dallas is within striking distance of getting themselves a quarterback in the draft. They've got a top 10 draft pick. They're within striking distance of picking up a quarterback in the draft. If you're Jerry Jones and you say to yourself, I am filled with elite talent everywhere, but if I sign this quarterback for $40 million, my roster will be hamstrung and I won't be able to sign other players so I can create an actually good team. Are you willing to give up Dak Prescott, knowing that next year you'll get a compensatory pick for him, and that this year you'll actually be able to draft a quarterback who is at a better financial arrangement? To me, that's worth a discussion. It's not one anybody's talking about. Everyone just assumes Dak's going to be back. But do I want a guy back who suffered such a horrendous injury last year that people couldn't stop looking at the replay? Do I want a guy back that I didn't think was worth it the year before? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at the draft and I'm saying, you know what? Kid from Ohio State's going to fall right in my lap. If I just sit where I'm at, don't make a trade at all, kid from Ohio State will fall directly in my lap and I'll have an opportunity. And then I have him for 5 years on a discounted rate. And I could really build the team. And I'm 74 years old, or however old Jerry Jones is, 112. He's 152 years old. And this is my last chance to actually build a team while I'm still alive to see it and try to get to a Super Bowl. So I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of discussions that should happen in Dallas. And they should start with what I just said.
Yeah, do you see them pushing like for one of the top picks of this draft? Like start a conversation?
I don't see them pushing for one of the top picks. What I see them doing is I see them where do they draft? I think they draft 6th or 7th this year. I got to look it up. I'm not even sure. Do me a favor, Google it while I'm rambling. I think
drafting
Dallas,
drafting 10th.
Okay, they're drafting 10th overall. At 10th overall, you can get one of the quarterbacks. Now, you might not get one of the top 3, but there are a lot of quarterbacks in this draft that are actually pretty decent. In fact, at 10, you might be able to trade down, pick up some draft assets, and then pick up a quarterback if there's someone that you really like. The kid from Florida might be their style. Kid from Oklahoma might be their style. I'm sorry, not Oklahoma, Alabama, Mac Jones. So there are some players out there. I think they're projecting 6 or 7 first-round type of talent guys out there. So look, I don't know. It just depends on who they love. Who do you fall in love with? If you love Fields and you want to move up, then you probably have the draft capital to do it. You can trade next year's first rounder, take your 10th, and probably move up to get Fields. If you like somebody else, if you like a Mac Jones and you think, hey, Mac will be there at 15, I could slide down 5 picks, pick up a second rounder for this year, add to my draft capital, save a ton of money. I just think there's a lot of options out there for them.
Indeed. So final quick fire news for the day. So we go back to Jack Easterby. Apparently, he kind of looks like a desperate guy because there's this article where picture this. Easterby is alleged to have sent text like an abusive lover to this agent's client. So
really?
There's a quotation there from an alpha male professional athlete millionaire in his 20s. And that's not all. So Easterby is also sending text to the mother of this player. So he's doing that. And he is the one making decisions for the Houston Texans. So it's
really?
Not a good picture for the franchise.
Oh, my goodness. I did not know that. All the stuff I said earlier about how he's a man of God and maybe that's why that should be taken into account for keeping his job. It should not, obviously, because he's acting like a fool now. Like, that's just foolish. To do like, how do you not understand that in today's digital world, how fast information can get out? Somebody can literally just take a picture of what you sent them, put it on the internet, and then you have no recourse. Like you're screwed completely. Like I didn't even see what you're talking about, but in my mind, he's guilty. Like, that's just terrible. I can't believe that. I don't know, Lance. I got to wonder sometimes about people's brains. I have this whole thing where I think as a whole, all of us, all around the world, are just getting dumber. We're becoming a dumber species. Touchdown!